All right. Hi, Anthony Parent of Parent and Parent IRSMedic. And we have some exciting news today. Today is June, what is it, June 18th today?
June
And
18th.
June 18th. And with me is Terry Robertson. And we are here to talk about the changes to the IRS Offshore Voluntary Disclosure Program. And from now on, we are going to refer to this as the 2014 OVDP. And we know we have a lot of videos out there on the 2012 OVDP, so there's going to be some of that information is superseded. So today's video is just to go over some of the overall changes and some of the bigger changes that we're seeing and what to do, who it's going to apply to. So I want to I put in the chat box the link to the page I'm going to do a screen share on right now. There we go.
And we'll also put it in the description in the YouTube box so people can access it.
Yeah. Now, are you getting my... Google's acting up today, folks. Sorry. I guess Google's excited about all these changes, too.
Aren't we all?
There we go. So start the screen share, please. Okay, it looks like we're going to have some problems there. So we're gonna direct you to the... I'm going to read off some of the FAQs, and we'll be doing a webinar more in depth on this, so make sure you subscribe to this channel. Really what we see, the big change that occurred is that there is now a streamlined domestic program. And so what happens there is there's a 5% penalty, and that was one of the criticisms of the old program. With the Streamlined program was it was for only expats who didn't file taxes. So now it's for U.S. People who are living in the U.S. who have unreported income. It has streamlined the process for the OVDP, but the downside is it sort of makes a mandatory 5% penalty, which, as far as I can tell, that's, again, I finished my first review of this. For a lot of people, that 5% penalty is somewhat not right either. It's not fair. If you really were negligent in filing an FBAR, there really shouldn't be any penalty whatsoever. So in order to avoid any FBAR penalty at all, it still looks like you need to go through the entire OVDP and then opt out like we have been doing for our clients in the 2012. Now, Terry, do you have any questions?
Yeah. Okay. So, are the only changes the domestic streamline program?
No, they have made some. They have made some overall changes to the Streamline program overall. Before there was sort of this $1,500 cap on unreported income per year, and we always saw that they would sort of change that number depending on what you read. They got rid of that. So really, it's for any amount of unreported income. What you need to do is certify that you weren't willful in your failure to report. And then what they'll do is they'll put a 5% penalty on your account balance as a Title 26 penalty. And for those of you who remember some of our previous webinars, that Title 26 penalty will just go on your IRS transcript. So it just becomes like any other IRS debt. Whereas an FBAR penalty is a Title 31 where the IRS really has a hard time collecting on it. So really what happened here, and I think the reason why we're seeing this change is we have been, our firm has really been pressuring the IRS with a lot of, with our clients being very aggressive in our opt-outs. Because the IRS made this assumption that people who did not report their accounts were doing so willfully, and that a 27.5% penalty on their account values was appropriate. Well, we think that's ridiculous. So we and other practitioners followed the law, and we really put some pressure on the IRS to relax. So that's what we're seeing here, is we're seeing the IRS backing off and not wanting to do these opt-out audits. That we have a huge backlog of opt-outs, of people awaiting opt-outs. I have somebody actually from December of 2009
Wow.
who, that they have not been able to get to, and it's sort of a case where she could qualify for the Streamlined now, but in her case, that 5% absolutely inappropriate for her to pay. This is just somebody who had nothing to do with it, and we're going to fight tooth and nail for her to pay zero. And so what's really going to happen for people is they're going to have that option. For people who didn't do anything intentionally, they can just take a 5% penalty and be done with it. A lower cost to get everything done, not as in depth, and they don't have to go through an entire audit. Now, for some people who that 5% penalty isn't appropriate for, and there are a lot, I would say actually most of our clients really aren't appropriate for that 5% penalty. It just gets down to a cost-benefit analysis and sort of, hey, can we wrap this up, get this behind us immediately? And that's really what the IRS has done, is they've come up with a number to get people to agree to pay something they shouldn't have to pay to begin with. But that is the nature of it, and so for some people who were looking at some risk, they can just simply take that 5% penalty and be done with it, or they can still continue opt out under the standard rules that have been in place and try to go for that 0% penalty, that warning, or even a non-willful in some cases where there's higher dollar amounts.
Okay, so if you could just kind of wrap it up in a nutshell and tell us what the impact for people already in the program is.
People already in the program can elect to go into the Streamlined program if they wish. And
okay.
That is one of the benefits they have. They really are in a better position than people about to go into the program, because they're in a position where they could either take that 5% penalty, okay, or they can opt out. And when they opt out, they're really in some of the better negotiating position because they came forward so long ago. So really, those are the people who did the right thing. They came forward. They did everything properly, so they really can decide what to do is best. For other people who made a soft disclosure, a quiet disclosure, okay, the IRS wants you to do something else. They want you to do the Streamlined, that you can go ahead and do the Streamlined. You need to certify, and we're going over the certification process right now to see, you need to certify that you weren't doing anything negligent. So if you did make a soft disclosure, there is potentially a way out of here that will give you somewhat of finality. And also, if you did do a Streamline and you don't want to pay that 5% penalty, you can also just enter into the OVDP and then opt out of that standard penalty structure. And I think one thing that's really important for people to understand is that 5% penalty goes not just against your foreign accounts, but it could go against your real estate. So you can imagine that somebody who has rental property overseas that may be mortgaged, the IRS may look to assess a significant penalty against something that really wasn't a part of any FBAR risk. So that's just something that we will be talking about more in upcoming videos. And again, there are just some things. The IRS sort of more or less formalized if you just have missing FBARs and unreported income, and no unreported income. They just removed FAQ 17 and they just put it in a different place. Same thing for if 3250. They just moved some of the things around. The 5% penalty for the 5% penalty that you could have gotten for those limited circumstances where you had accounts that you didn't open, had limited contacts with, really didn't know existed, and the 12.5% penalty, those have all been superseded by the new Streamlined domestic and offshore programs. Now,
ooh, that was a mouthful.
And one more thing.
Oh no.
There's one more thing, and this is really the big thing for some people. Really the time, and this really is the time that they have to get in. They have a limited amount of time. They can still get under the 2012 rules. Okay, you have until July 1st to get in under the 2012 rules. Because the 2014 rules, which go into effect according to this FAQ on July 1st, means that you will get a 50% offshore penalty if your foreign financial institution was that account who helped if someone was helping you make an offshore arrangement that is under investigation, by the DOJ, and there's an FAQ on that, a new one on FAQ on that, about those types of people who really need to squeeze in under the 2012. And right now, this is really the worst time of the year for this to be announced, because I think every offshore FBAR attorney, we all have a lot of deadlines coming up. So that is something to be aware of, is if your bank is somebody under investigation and you know you're in this position where you really can't opt out, you need to act quickly, because instead of 27.5% of account value, it's 50% of account value, and that's basically one standard FBAR penalty, and that does go against the highest account value. So there really is an intense pressure for those people to make a disclosure as quick as they can, and that's as far as I can see so far. And this is what I've done in our immediate reading. So what I would just say is, people, subscribe to this channel so you can stay tuned, and we will be blogging more about some of these changes, and I'm sure the IRS will probably be editing and changing some of these FAQs for clarity as we go along.
Exactly.
Terry, do you have any other questions?
Well, we're just going to be putting together a webinar as quickly as possible to address all of these and to answer any questions that people have. If you are one of these people who is stuck in the quagmire of FBAR and you need to get stuff done quickly, then contact us and make sure you get in, because otherwise you might have a very hefty penalty going on.
That's right. Yeah, there's some time limitations here. For some people, there are significant time limitations. For other people, the pressure isn't as intense, but for some people, it certainly is.
Exactly. Exactly. So, okay, and subscribe to our channel.
Subscribe, all right. This is Anthony Parent,
Exactly.
Parent and Parent, soon to be Parent in Wynn, LLP, the IRSMedic, and I thank you for watching.